Chloe, Chloe, tapos
Mm.
Enki, di ba? Tapos ang dami na naman nag-react. Ayan na naman. Sabi pa ni Gretchen, no, troll ka talaga. Sabi ko, I'm just asking, I'm just observing na, syempre, best boyfriend in the universe. Dapat triple gold medal for best boyfriend siya, di ba? No, honestly, I enjoy the guy. Alam mo, Ronald, siguro ang disagreement lang natin ng konti. Ay, by the way, kasama po natin. Kanina, kung Wataru-san ng Tokyo University ang kasama natin, Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Ngayon, kasama natin ang best product of Japan, the Nippon Nation. Kasama po natin ngayon si Lord Toranaga. Salamat, Lord Toranaga, low bat version. Para tayo may sakit ngayon, no? Parang hindi ako sanay. Kamusta sa Ronald?
Yeah, binanggit ko siya kanina ito sa bilyonaryo, si Toronaga.
Toranaga, yeah. Idol, idol. So, Sir Ronald, I
Ah,
think both people are gonna be shocked. This is gonna be the most low-bat version of R&R. So I might postpone na my return to Baguio for now. I have to check kung hopefully there's nothing COVID-ish or something. Kasi syempre, si Lolang bibisitahin ko, so I have to make sure everything. Medyo puyat-puyat. Ikaw, paano ka nagkasakit? Puyat din para tayo, Sir Ronald?
Oo, araw-araw po yan eh. Tapos ang
Paano
dami pang
naman?
mga activities. Nag-kuha kami kanina, special congress ng Akbayan para
Oh,
sa mga nominees. Para sa mga nominees.
OMG.
So, mm,
OMG, you're the perfect
mm.
co-host. Talagang galing talaga ni R&R. Next year, Sir Ronald, mag-live na tayo from hearings in Congress, in Senate, lalo with the T3 coming, tatlong tulfo. But I look forward to the hearings in the Congress, especially if and when Chel Jokno will represent Akbayan at the Philippine House of Representatives. Kamusta, Sir Ronald? What is the news on the ground? How did Chel Jokno end up as the first nominee, not just any nominee, but first nominee of Akbayan? To the degree that you can share the conversations and discourse, what can you share, Lord Tornaga?
Well, una ay yung mga principles, visions ng Akbayan ay hindi naman malayo sa mga visions at saka principles ni Shell Jokno. Actually, sobrang magkalapit. Kaya mahalaga kasi sa Akbayan yung same beliefs, same analysis, no? Kaya yun yung una, no? Ikalawa ay dahil nga dito sa near defeat na Akbayan dito
Yeah,
sa last election ay gusto rin ng Akbayan na magdagdag ng mga new blood, no, yung to think out of the box. Kaya
right.
ang tingin kay Shell Jokno ay isang value added dun
Right.
sa limits ng Akbayan. Tapos ikatlo, dahil dito sa mga bakbakan ngayon, bardagulan, sa
Right.
Quadcom, sa Senate hearings, sa Congress hearings, sa budget, etc. Kailangan mo lang mga katulad ni Congressman Luistro na
Right. Very good point. Very good.
may wherewithal para hindi lamang para makipagbardagulan kung hindi may rigor, no, may rigor. At
Right.
si Shell being dating long time leader ng Free Legal Assistance Group ng FLAG at saka ng Dean ng LaSalle Law School ng tawag ngayon ay Jokno Tanyada Law School, I think ko malaki yung kanyang value added. Hindi lamang sa akbayan, kung hindi sa Congress at sa bansa. Lalo na nag-scale
Right.
up na yung ganitong klaseng mga bakbakan. Dati kasi medyo natutulog ang Congress eh. Ngayon humahabol ang Congress sa Senado. Hindi lamang sa mga Senate hearing, kundi sa mga expose. Lalo na nitong nakaraang mga araw, biro mo, ang tindi ng mga lumabas tungkol kay Garma, ang tindi ng mga lumabas tungkol dito sa sinabi ni Espenido na mga criminal elements within the PNP. At grabe, yung mga huling testigo. No? Biro mo, isang ex-general ng PNP na board member ng PCSO ay ang claim ng mga testigo ay mismo si Garma ang nagpatira, no? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Mukhang marami
Right.
pang lalabas in the next few weeks, months,
Right.
years. Yeah.
Sir Ronald,
Kailangan ko ng mga, kwan, ng mga mas magagaling na mga legal luminaries
right.
na tutulong dito sa scaling up ng Kongreso.
So again, I think we're gonna all both strongman each other. I think both of us are at our low energy level now. So let me come in and essentially, so ang argument dito is, in fairness, thanks to Congressman Luis Stro Gutierrez, among others, medyo umangat-ungat yung prestige ng Congress. And just as the prestige of Congress has been going up, the prestige of the Senate has been going down. And there's an expectation that we'll have, no offense, more clown shows. I mean, it's going to be even more interesting, likely, in the next Senate. So in that world, if you are Chel Jokno, you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the landscape, it's not the worst thing to be in the Congress. And as far as being in the
Yes.
Congress is concerned, Akbayan represents the greatest point of convergence in terms of advocacy, yung mga adikain, yung mga pwedeng mangyari. And now we can imagine Chel Jokno shining big time in the Congress as things get more interesting. Because it's very possible next year they'll push pa for constitutional change or something like that, mumbo jumbo. So you need the good guys to be there in the Congress and fight the good fight with authority. So hindi na check kibam. Kibam na lang. Kibam, kibam.
Mukha. Mukha. Ah, at magandang kwan, kung makakaupo si Shell Joke, no, magandang addition siya dun sa history ng akbayan sa Kongreso. From Eta Rosales to Risa Ontiveros, Professor Mario Aguja, to Walden Bello, Kakabag-Aw, Governor Kakabag-Aw, to Congressman Tom Villarin, no? Percy Sendanya. So, maraming mga dagdag. At ngayon, for the first time, meron kaming uh, galing sa Mindanao na uh, sister Muslim natin na leader ng mga Muslim women uh, sa Mindanao as a nominee. No? As a
Second
nominee.
nominee or third nominee?
Third nominee.
Third
No?
nominee. Third nominee. Ronald, I'll go back to this again more. I mean, obviously, I think we're in interesting times because if Leila de Lima also makes it to the Congress through the liberal, Mamayan Liberal parties, you can imagine Leila de Lima, Chel Jokno, lalo mag-level up itong Congress na to. And I can imagine they will hold the line if the next Congress tries to do something mumbo jumbo, not against the Dutertes per se, but in favor of the Marcoses. So I think we really need to have good people there in the Congress. In addition to Senate,
Yes.
I think we have to be just realistic. The Senate race is looking really, really crazy, which we'll discuss more later on. Um, uh, Ronald, for the purpose of the people who are not very familiar, I know paulit-ulit natin sinasabi yan, pero we need to do this, Ronald. Can you explain to us what is Akbayan Party? What is the difference from the Makabayan Bloc and all of those similarly sounding groups na militant? And more importantly, what is the process by which Akbayan selects its nominee? To what degree is this a real, legitimate, modern, participatory democratic decision?
Well, nung nagsimula yung akbayan, ay pagsasama ito hindi lamang ng tatlong political blocks. Yung Popular Democrats, yung Democratic Socialists, yung Social Democrats, kung hindi pagsasama rin ng mga civil society groups, trade unions, dahil ang tingin nila ay sayang yung democratic space na na-open nung EDSA Revolution at yung 87 Constitution kung hindi ito i-maximize ng mga progressive organizations, kung hindi sila magsasama-sama. At yung mga dating mga members ng Akbayan before Akbayan ay usually mga kwanto very suspicious sa electoral arena. Very skeptical tungkol dito sa parliamentary struggle. Pero nung 98, through the party list system, na kasama sila sa nagkampanya nung 95, ay nakita nila ito yung parang entry point. Imagine mo, after EDSA, more than 10 years bago nag-participate itong mga civil society, itong political blocks na ito sa electoral struggle. Ibig sabihin, more than 1 decade yung nasayang, no, after EDSA to maximize the democratic space. Pero kahit medyo huli, ay at least nag-unite at nakapasok dito parliamentary arena through the party system at eventually local elections, mga mayors, even a governor katulad ni Kakabagaw, mga barangay, village officials, at even the Senate through Senator Risa Hontiveros. So bagamat ito ay hindi pa naman ganun ka-dominant, at least maganda siyang investment ng progressive movement dito sa parliamentary electoral arena. So, yun yung summary niyan. At nung simula ay karamihan na sa leadership ng akbayan ay galing sa mga sectors, galing sa mga organizers lalo na ng trade unions. Halimbawa, I was a party president for 14 years at ang pinanggalingan ko ay trade unions, no? Pero ngayon, marami sa mga leaders ngayon ay galing sa youth movement, galing sa LGBTQI movement. No? So, mga kwan ngayon, mga Gen Z at saka millennials ang leadership ngayon. No? Unlike nung more than half ng, uh, ng panahon ng akbayan, karamihan ay galing sa mga trade union organizations. No?
Uh, Sir Ron, I want to ask you also about Percy Lapid because I think people know very well Chel, they know very well Risa, they know very well you, ETA, among other luminaries, not to mention Walden Bellew. But a little bit, I want us to talk about also Percy and why should people look forward also to the incoming service of this great progressive. But before that, I want to ask you on a personal note, Ronald. I know we did this in our very first podcast together. I don't know if you remember it, around 1.5 years ago, and we had the long conversation about your journey. But just to remind people, Ronald, what was your journey what was your progressive journey? Because my understanding is you started a little bit on the radical side and then you moved to the center, a parliamentary approach.
Hindi naman. I started sa UST. I was the first president of the first student council sa University of Santo Tomas. Actually, the first student council sa University Belt noong 1979, 1980. Halos kasabay yata namin ng UP na nagtayo ng student council noon. On our own, tapos eventually ay napasok kami sa mga sectoral organizing while in college at naging editor din ng mga campus publications dahil journalism ako noon. Kaya eventually ay naging bahagi kami ng isang socialist movement, democratic socialist movement noong mid-80s. Pero namulat ako not through political parties, namulat ako not through katulad mo, mga Marxist books, no? Ay namulat ako dahil sa
Not true, not true. Hegel, more right wing
namulat ako
Hegel.
through my parents dahil yung mother ko nasa Department of National Defense, Office for Detainees Affairs. So namulat ako sa kanya dun uh, sa ginagawa sa mga political detainees during martial law, no? Doon ko nalaman sa kanya yung about torture, about even rape ng mga political detainees, no? At sa father ko naman nasa Napolcom, sa kanya ko natutunan yung hindi ko alam dati na police corruption dahil yun yung kanyang department sa Napolcom. So namulat ako sa aking mga magulang na lahat ay government employees, uncle, auntie, father, mother, lahat, no? At hindi lang sa government, no? Sa defense establishment at sa Napolcom. So when I entered college, may kaunti na akong background about what's happening around me. At dahil nung ako ay pumasok sa college, punong-puno ng energy, kahit walang political vision, walang ideology, parang hinog na hinog ako noon para ma-recruit ng mga progressive organizations. At yun nga nangyari. And then nag-drop out ako sa college. I started organizing trade unions, mga farmers, at saka mga urban poor. And eventually participated dun sa EDSA uprising. Actually, nag-participate ako noong 85 para buuin yung bayan noon. Yung first
Right.
broad coalition against the Marcos dictatorship.
Ay.
Hindi tumagal, on the second day ng Congress ay nabiyak, and some of us formed our own group. Ito nga yung grupo nila Dodong Nemenso, nila Randy David. Noong 85, nung nag-collapse yung bayan, we formed BSIG, Union for the Advancement of Socialist Ideas and Action. BSIG. So, and then, just 1-2 years after that, ay nangyari na yung EDSA. At after EDSA, ay sumama ako doon sa pagbubuo ng isang historic labor alliance, the broadest of its kind, since nung CLO nung 1950s at saka 60s. No? Ang tawag dito, Labor Advisory and Consultative Council. All the legendary trade union leaders nandun, from Johnny Tan of Federation of Free Workers, sila Lando Olalia, no, yung mag-amang Olalia, yung mga si Crispin Beltran, etc. Papsing Malonzo. So I was the youngest trade union leader then dun sa grupo na yan. Sinuwerte ako na itong mga legends ng labor movement ay inabutan ko. Sila Angel Backing, no, sila Papsing Malonzo, no. These are the legends na nababasa ko lang before nung ako na sa college, no. At yun, pero sayang hindi rin siya tumagal. Siguro mga 2 years ay nag-fold up din siya. Pero yung panahon na yan, after EDSA, ito yung golden age ng coalitions. Dito nabuo yung Congress for the People's Agrarian Reform, na lahat ng mga peasant groups ay nagsama-sama. Itong LACC, lahat ng labor groups, yung Urban Poor Forum, mga urban poor groups, no? Yung National Movement for Civil Liberties ni Renato Constantino, no? Tapos yung Freedom from Debt Coalition, which at that time was the broadest coalition. So itong after EDSA hanggang siguro 90s, ito yung golden age ng progressive coalitions. Sayang, hindi na naulit. Hindi na naulit.
But gusto ko balikan yung coalition issue. Ronald, you want to get some hot water or something for your throat? I'm worried for you also. Going back to this, ako, the reason why I ask about why the democratic progressive socialist route is because, I mean, you and I, Ronald, both of us are very feisty personalities. Let's just put it nicely. I think both of us have very strong sense of social injustice, and I mean, for all of our patawa, which we'll do again shortly, even if low energy kami, there's a serious force that is animating us. Why didn't the idea of, okay, I want to use the term protracted people's, a revolution or something like that. But why doesn't the idea of revolutionary change, upheaval, why didn't that attract you? Why do you still believe in the parliamentary system, considering na alam naman natin binababo yung party list system ng mga trapos, binababo yung mga dynasties ang democratic institutions natin. Why have you kept your faith in the very flawed parliamentary system? Why do you believe in reform in that sense, peaceful reform and change?
Well, una, yung mga naka-influence sa akin in college ay mga religious leaders. Halimbawa, yung una kong na-meet ay si Father Romeo Intengan, who eventually became the head of the Jesuits in the country. Na-meet ko rin si a young priest noon, si Father Chito Tagle, na ngayon ay number 3 highest official ng Vatican, si Cardinal Chito Tagle. I used to hide dun sa kanyang tahanan ng mabuting pastol. Siya yung rector noon, a young rector, a young priest. Siya yung nagbigay sa akin ng seminar, my first seminar on fascism, the national security ideology. I was very young then, mga 18, 19. Si Father Romeo Intengan, na-meet ko when I was 16, 17. So, nagsimula ako na based on a very progressive, liberative faith. Yung aking mga unang seminar has nothing to do with yung mga si Hegel tsaka si Marx, no? Liberation theology na nung panahon kasi na yan, meron ding mga bagong dynamic sa Catholic Church, lalong-lalo na sa Latin America. So doon ako nagsimula.
So
Kaya
nested in progress. So essentially, it's a progressive Catholicism, not too dissimilar from our current Pope, right? Pope Francis
yes,
from his very
a
progressive.
progressive Christianity, no? A progressive Christianity, no? Na yan yung mga una ko nabasa. Sila Gustavo Gutierrez, no? Yan yung mga nag-shape sa akin nung simula. Ikalawa, dahil nangyari yan yung panahon na very strong yung communist movement at very strong yung dictatorship, naghanap ka ng alternative. There must be something better than fascism and communism. Kaya
Third
doon
way.
kami naghanap ng alternative at nadiskubre namin yung democratic socialism. Of course, nadiskubre namin yan sa Europe, pero eventually ay ginawa namin mas a Philippine version ng democratic socialism. Kaya kahit relatively maliit kami kumpara doon sa mga ibang leftist organizations, we wanted to plant the seeds of an alternative that something better than communism or fascism, yung tingin namin yung kinakailangang masimulan dito sa ating bansa, especially during those heyday ng late 70s at saka early 80s.
I mean, in many ways, you were also kind of a Hegelian negation of negation. You were an alternative also to the alternative, right? You were a different form of progressive alternative from the Makabayan bloc or other blocks here. Just to be clear,
In a way.
I'm not making judgments
way.
because we had other folks here from that side, including Ma'am Franz Castro. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the fantastic discussion we're having. So I'm not here to throw shades or anything. I'm just trying to help people distinguish different groups because you're not the same, right? And each of you brings something different to the table.
In a way, actually, ang mga una kong mga naka-influence sa akin is more si Gramsci. No? Si Gramsci, yung kanyang prison notebooks, nabasa ko nung college. No? So, naka-influence sa akin ng malalim yung mga ideas at saka yung mga
Western Marxism, cultural Marxism.
yes, in a way yung Frankfurt School, no? Sila Marcuse, no?
Oppenheimer,
Sila
yeah, and all of that. Yeah, the whole,
Horkheimer,
yeah.
no? Yun yung mga nakakuha sa akin. Na naghahanap ng a more democratic alternative than yung dominant leftist ideology nung panahon na yun.
And a focus on culture, influence of culture, patterns of capitalist reproduction, influence of Hollywood, things like that, right? That's what the Frankfurt School was very good, especially when
Yes,
they were
yes, in
exiled
a way
out.
anti-dogmatism. Anti-dogmatism ng traditional left, no? Siyempre hindi naman perpekto yung mga ideologues na yan. Pero at ang common sa kanila ay yung anti-dogmatism, no? A more open political discourse, a more open leftist politics.
I'm glad we're having this discussion because I think people have to understand where we're coming from. No, I mean that there's a lot going in the background before we arrive at things that we're doing right now. Now let's talk about Percy, Ronald. Can we talk about Percy and what the new congressman is bringing to the table?
Well, si Percy ay na-recruit namin nung siya ay nasa college pa. Siya yung unang openly gay
Ateneo,
president.
Ateneo, right?
UP. Siya yung
Pala
first
UP. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
siya yung first openly gay president ng UP Student Council. No? Kaya alam mo naman ang UP, 'di ba? Very dominant diyan ang leftist politics, no? Pero at the time, yung leftist politics ay nahahaluan na ng mga identity issues. At very defining yung pagiging presidente niya ng UP Student Council as the first openly gay student leader at that time. Dahil hindi masyadong napag-uusapan yan eh. Masyadong dominant ang usapin ng class, masyadong dominant yung usapin ng imperialism, no? Masyadong dominant yung usapin ng economic determinism. Pero during that time ay nasisimula na rin yung sabi mo nga, yung discourse about culture ay yung discourse about identity, yung discourse about gender.
Which
Kaya
kind of anticipated our era of identity-based politics, right?
yes. So
We're ahead of the curve.
Clearly, Percy, nung siya estudyante, ay progressive. Clearly, nung na-recruit namin siya ay naging socialist. Pero also very clear na kasama sa kanyang ideology ay yung identity issues, yung gender issues. No? Kaya mismo within our circles, mismo within sa akbayan, ay naging healthy contribution doon sa ideological formulation yung gender politics, yung identity issues. No?
Right.
At si Percy, in a way, represented that tendency. Yung bagong element na yon doon sa mga traditional discourse namin nila Randy, nila Dodong Nemenso, nila Walden Bello,
The
no?
class.
Nakadagdag yon. At tingin ko na-enrich niya yung ideological formulation ng akbayan at yung bigger progressive movement na kinakatawan ng akbayan.
But Percy will just have what, 6, 7 months in the
8
Congress?
months. 8
8
months.
months. So hindi na siya
At kung
tatakbo ulit.
sakaling manalo ng 2 seat ang akbayan, ay pwede siyang magkaroon ng second term. No?
Second nominee
Pero
ba siya?
mahalaga dahil first time kami natalo sa aming more than 25 years na history, first time namin natalo noong 2019. Yung height ng Duterte government.
Right. Which was the lowest for the rest of us.
Yes. So, meron kami mga close calls nung panahon ni Arroyo, no? Pero yung pinaka nanganib ang akbayan was during the time of Duterte. Dahil hindi lang siya usapin ng harassment. Hindi lang siya usapin ng extrajudicial killings. Usapin siya na 93% ng ating population we're supporting Duterte. So ang hirap mag-organize, ang daling ma-demonize dahil nga sobrang
Ay, yung
overwhelming
fear
yung support.
factor. I had
Yeah.
Wataru-san here who did on-the-ground research, nag-embed siya sa communities in Visayas region, in Ilocos, in Manila, and he said daming takot yung time na yan. There was really a climate
Yes.
of fear.
Yeah, it's a combination of fear and at the same time yung popularity ni Digong, the Duterte brand was very dominant. So hirap mag-organize because of fear, pero at the same time hirap mag-organize at saka mag-recruit
So
dahil
walang
nga dun sa
receptiveness.
support ni Digong. Sabi
Yeah.
ka namin nun, kung isasama mo yung margin of error, halos 3%
Zero.
lamang
Baka negative.
yung ayaw kay Digong, no? So that was the
But
first
now,
time we lost.
but Ronald, now,
2019.
but Ronald, now 2024 is 0.6%. So I'm just saying it's a huge improvement from zero or -3. You have made a huge improvement, my friend. You have made a huge improvement. That's a big jump from negative to
Siguro
point.
yun yung isang aspeto ng aking personality. Bagaman ah, binuo yung akbayan, binuo yung electoral movement, ay ako bilang as a person, tingin ko hindi ko linya yon. I would rather be a campaign manager, I would rather be an organizer
A
ng
vlogger,
electoral struggle
a lover,
rather
Ronald, a lover.
rather than be a candidate, no? Kaya huwag kayong
But,
maniwala dyan
but,
sa mga
but
sinasabi ng mga mambubudol.
But Ronald, let me say to our audience now, especially on Twitter among others, because I saw some clamor kahapon. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Kunyari lang sinasabi ni Ronald, sa 2028, we're gonna launch something. So don't worry about it. May money pa kami. Now, since naka-crocodile ako dito sa shirt ko ngayon, even though it's a pink shirt, um, pag-usapan natin yung mga hearings ngayon sa Congress and all. Yung Quadcom is going crazy, isn't it? Medyo grabe
Yes.
level of revelations and all. Medyo insane, no?
Oo, grabe, no? Grabe na nga yung sinabi ni Espenido, yung poster boy ng podcast a couple of months ago, di ba? Na totoo pala itong quota para sa extrajudicial killings. Totoo pala yung ugnayan ng pogo, ng drugs with EJK. No, totoo pala itong mga criminal elements within the Philippine National Police. Sabi nga niya, the biggest criminal organization is the Philippine National Police, no? Hindi mo aasahan yan during the time of Duterte dahil ito sa Espinido ay poster boy nung talk